Alright, let's just start off from scratch from a empty file here. Let's start with creating some water. For water, we're gonna create something. Let's do dark blue first, something like this. And let's just fill this background with this color. Maybe even darker. Let's do darker like that. And now we need to create some lighting. So I'm gonna do this on a separate layer and just move it up. Let's do a little bit like this. Something light. And with a brush, let's first make a dot here. Let's bring the flow all the way up and hardness at 0. And first let's create a dot. Change the blend mode to overlay because it's way too light. And this way we have like a light source from the top. Because when we are underwater, we get lighting from the sky from up there. Alright, so for blending things underwater, it's actually really easy. But when it comes to blending, the only thing you need to understand is the lighting. This includes the shadows, the colors of the image, the perspective, how the photos are taken. So underwater, this doesn't really matter because you can flow underwater in any kind of way. And the quality of the images. And it first starts with the quality. You need to have the same quality images to blend things better together. So if you're gonna blur things out, it doesn't really matter. So let's start off from this point. So we need to blend this like it's underwater, and now it looks like it's just, well, not real, right? So let me rotate this that way. I think this works better. So for blending things underwater, we need to understand that the colors need to be right first. So let me double click on this layer style and go to color overlay. And here I can select the color. Let's put this to normal first. Select the color and pick something from the area that he or she or it is swimming in. Just press OK, and now we have this color. Now if we change this color, it's gonna take these colors and put it in our image. And let's not do 100%, this doesn't look right anymore. So let's say around 50%, maybe even less. Something like this to get some colors of it. Press OK, and that's it for the color for that one. Now we need to remove some of the color from the original one. So I'm gonna do this with hue and saturation here, and let's drop this a little bit. Alright, so now we have the colors right. Next step is to get the lighting right, because you can see here on the bottom side, he's really light, and we only want the lighting on the top of the image. So for this, I could do some curves here or exposure, for instance. And let's drop this. Let's drop the exposure here to make him dark first. So now we are already getting him better in this composition, but he's a little bit too dark now, so we have to fix that. So let's first drop the exposure. That's it. And now we can click on this mask here. And if we want to make things lighter, I can just brush things back again. This is way too light, of course, he's underwater, so we need to drop the opacity here, and let's brush the top part because we have lighting coming from there, and you want to make sure this top part is light and the bottom part stays dark. Can do this bubbles lighter. Let's do this area lighter. Also some of his face. Let's do his face, or else he's too dark. Because we have lighting here, I'm assuming it's coming on his face. Also this side, this side, this side. Alright, that's basically it for the exposure. Now we can do this even better. So I will create a new layer here between these. Go to edit fill and fill this with 50% gray. And with this I have a separate layer that I can adjust. Change the blend mode to overlay. Now go to here and let's do some dodge. With dodge I can make these highlights lighter. So if you select here highlights, maybe you don't need 100%. It all depends on the image you're using. And start with making these top parts even lighter, so he doesn't fade away in this water. When you have parts like this is almost white, so when you do this, it just ruins the image. So don't do it on those parts, just areas like this to make it lighter. And when you do that on all these parts, you get a nice highlights here in the image, so it doesn't get too dark. So this looks fine. Maybe also here, all these areas that are lighting up now, make them a little bit lighter. Alright, this is fine for now. We have some highlights now on the top of this image. This is okay. Alright, next thing we can do is when you have things underwater, you can also just drop the opacity here. When you drop this, it looks like he's in the water. You just need to be careful with this, because if you're gonna place something behind him, you will see it through him, so it doesn't look real anymore. But let's just do it here around, say, percent. All right, that's fine for this one. Now we can do some more lighting here. I always like to use some curves. With the curves, I can just make this even lighter. So let's bring up the highlights here. And let's take the darker tones and bring them up. So it looks like he's fading away in the water. Let's remove this one. Maybe let's leave it like that. And make like this curve. So we get an idea that he's fading away. Don't go too far. Try to get the same tones as the water. So he was too dark. This also depends on your image itself. So he was a little bit black. So I'm gonna make it slightly lighter. Like that. Maybe a little bit like this. All right, I'm gonna leave it like that. All right, he gets a little bit too dark now, especially on his face. You don't want to ruin his face. So this is this layer. I'm gonna brush a little bit away here. Like some light source coming from there. Maybe it's too light now. Let's brush a little bit here. Just to get an idea that he's in the water. Right, this already looks like he's in the water. And now we can just adjust this background. Let me create a new solid color here. If I want to change this background to something else, I can just change it. But you need to be careful with this, because if you're going to change the colors like something really different, if you want to make it more greenish, you need to blend this. You need to blend this again from the start. So when you have this, you can change it again here. Color overlay. Oh, color overlay, and just pick that one. All right, let's just not touch that. Let's just leave it like this. This already looks like he's in the water. So next thing we could do here is to make the light source bigger. So I'm gonna press Ctrl J to duplicate this. But now it looks like it's too bluish. So I'm gonna press Ctrl U and drop the saturation of it. You don't wanna have that much color underwater. All right, this is fine. We got some bending here going on, but that's another problem. Now let's also add this shark here and also blend this one with it. Let's put the shark behind it. You can see here, that's what I was talking about. When you drop the opacity, you will see the shark through him. So when you do the opacity thing, don't put stuff behind him, or else you will see really weird stuff going on. So I won't put it behind him, or else you will see it through him. Now let's also do the same for the shark. Let's blend the shark with this water. So what I would do here is, let's move this first up so it doesn't stay in the way here. It's annoying me. Let's put it here. Let's blend the shark. So first we double click on it, go to color overlay, and select the water color. Shark is really light, so it's fine. We get a little bit of the blue now. We can drop now hue saturation from the shark. He doesn't have much color, but it's just a process that I always like to do, to be sure everything blends better together. And now we can do some curves, or let's do exposure first. Let's drop these highlights here so it blends better together. Especially when something is farther away in the water, you need to make it a little bit darker to make it look more real. So don't do it like this, do it a little bit like that. And now let's do some curves to bring up the highlights and to a little bit darker. Let's do it like that. You don't want to have it too black, because when it's too black, it doesn't look real anymore, especially if it's farther away there. Don't have much contrast when something is far away on the water. And we can also give it a little bit of a depth. So I'm gonna go to Gaussian blur and get some blur. So we have to focus on this person here that's swimming. Press OK. Now we can move this around and see how that looks. Let's make him smaller. Right, and now we can do some brushing again because this is too light now. We need to make sure the bottom part is darker. So what I will do is this layer here, this makes it lighter. I will remove it from the bottom part. Let's bring up the opacity and flow again. Why is this moving? Right, so the bottom part dark. This is our layer that makes it dark, so we could slightly move it here on the top to give him some lighting. This is way too much, so I need to drop the opacity. Just a little bit lighter. And let's do some dodge and burn. So I will put this layer here again and go to edit fill. Or maybe just burn, maybe just dodge. Whatever is needed. For the burn, we can do the bottom part to make it darker like that. And for the top part, because we have lighting at the top, don't forget that we can make some dodge. But I think he's already light enough. Maybe a little bit here. It's not the right way. Just a little bit. We can even make him more bluish because I feel like he isn't blue enough. So I'm gonna go to this. And let's make a bit more blue. We can also drop the opacity here, so it looks like he's in the water far away there. Let's see. Let's also, what was this again? This is our color. All right, this is too light, so I need to adjust this a little bit, make it darker like that. So that's pretty easy to do. And next thing you could do here is to blur out this edge of this person and everything else. So to blend things better, you can also use the blur tool. So let's first rasterize this layer and start blurring out this. This is really stuff to go into details to make things even better. So it takes a lot of time to do everything right. So if you want to do this really precise, you just zoom in and blur the edge of your subjects to make it look even more real. So I'm not gonna do this, it's gonna take a lot of time to do the whole thing, but just showing you how to blend things better. All right, and now you can add stuff like, he's a little bit too light here, but whatever, maybe put this down so it looks more real. And now we can add stuff in the water and do exactly the same as we did on these two things. So that's pretty easy to do. It all depends on the color of your water, and if you use an image of water, that it's even more easy to do than I did. Now, once you are satisfied with how this image looks with colors and lighting and stuff like that, you can make it better by giving it the extra curves on top of everything. So once you have all these layers ready, make an extra curve on top, bring up these highlights and bring these down to get more contrast in this image, and this will make the image pop out and look even cooler. Sometimes you need to bring this down, but it all depends on the image, how it looks. So for this one, I would only do this and bring this a little bit to this side. So this is what I usually do to get things right, and you can play with these to make the colors better if you want to change the colors to get some more realistic colors like that. Maybe a little bit greenish. So that's pretty easy to do. So that's pretty much it. So thanks for watching. If you want to learn more, maybe you want to check out one of these videos. And until then, see you in the next one.